Well, they tried to bury us in Tier 10, but we've clawed our way all the way back to League 1. So with my time at Bury now coming to an end, where will they be after 5 years without me? Let's find out. Okay, well, here we go. Let's resign as the manager of Bury with immediate effect. And I'll confirm that right now. And I am absolutely convinced I'm going to resign. So I'm not changing my mind. There we go, confirmation. I am no longer the manager of Bury, and we'll be back in 5 years' time to find out how they do without me. Okay, well, here it is, the moment of truth. This is how they've got on in the 5 years since I left. You'll recall I left in April of 2029 following promotion as champions from League 2. They were immediately relegated out of League 1 back into League 2, but as you can see, they have, in the 4 years in League 2, they've survived, and I won't say thrived. They've done okay. They are still a League 2 side. So let's do a little bit more of a deep dive and explore what's happened since I left. So we'll start with the fixtures since April 2029. And so 29-30 was a bit of a disastrous start for them, and they never really recovered from it. So yeah, as you can see, they got just the one win early on, and that was in the EFL Cup. They didn't get their first league win until they beat Bristol Rovers in September, and they did actually follow that with another one against Huddersfield. But it was a pretty miserable season all told, and resulted, as we've already seen, in relegation from League 1. And then in season 30-31, let's have a look at that in a bit more detail. So a bit better start, but very quickly they were again on a losing run, picking up the odd victory every now and again, but it was only ever a case of survival for them. A horrendous spell in February and March, and in fact into April as well, and probably that win over Stockport on the final day proves crucial. We'll do a deep dive into the league tables in just a moment. The season after that, 31-32. Again, a rocky start, but they then did pick up in September, October and November, and indeed the early part of December. And the second half of the season wasn't great, but it was certainly not disastrous, and March was pretty spectacular with 4 wins out of 5. So we'll move on to 32-33 season. So just a year ago now, and another season where it took them a few games to get going, but once they did, they picked up a few wins, went on another rocky run, a really good run again in November, terrible December, January pretty good, February and March pretty awful, but then a couple of wins in April just to absolutely secure league football for another year. And finally, 2033-34, the season just finished. And once again, In fact, a better start this time. It's only taken them 3 games to pick up their first win, and they've backed it up with another one and then another one pretty quickly. But then a long run with very, very few wins through to the end of November into December. January, miserable. February, winless. March, also pretty grim with only 1 win from 3. And then a couple of wins in April. Again, likely proving crucial. So that's how the league fixtures went over the last 5 years. I'll be back in a moment to show you the league tables. Okay, here we go with the dive into the league tables, and we'll start with 2028-29, and that was the season we left, so confirmation that we went up as champions with 95 points. And let's move on to 29-30, the first season without me. Of course, that was in League One. So 29-30 in League One. And they were 22nd in the league, 10 wins, 16 draws, 20 defeats, 46 points, relegated by 3 points and with a massively inferior goal difference. So let's move on to 30-31 in League 2. And that was a real struggle for them. 20th in the league with 13 wins, 10 draws, 23 defeats, 49 points, survival by 8 points. And then 31-32 was much more comfortable. A 10th place finish that year with 18 wins, 13 draws, 15 defeats and 67 points, just 6 behind Peterborough in 7th, who claimed the promotion via the playoffs. And moving on to 32-33, and again 14th in the league table with 15 wins, 16 draws and 15 defeats and 61 points, so relatively comfortable survival. And finally 20-33-34, and another dice with death this time. 20th place finish, 12 wins, 12 draws, 22 defeats, 48 points, just 3 clear of relegated Fleetwood Town, and with an inferior goal difference as well. So that final day victory was indeed crucial to Bury surviving the 5 years in the Football League. And I'll be back in a moment to show you the squad as it stands now and to look at the comings and goings over the last 5 years. Okay, well, here is the squad, and scanning through it, the only name I recognise in there is Tom Rush, who was the third choice goalkeeper when I left, and so everybody else is completely new. So my entire squad has been broken up. So let's do a deep dive into how that happened. And we left in 2028-29. So moving on to 29-30, players leaving. Kakuri left to Tirana on a free. Namai went to MacArthur FC on loan. Harrison went to Fylde on a free. Charlie Rowan to Stratford Town on loan. Cameron Ishmael went to Ghazi El Mahala. And Kane Leake to Wrexham. And they brought in a whole host of new signings. So let's move on to 30-31, and the exodus continued. Matas Holicek, Conor McCarthy, Abdullahi, Aidan Mullin and Tony Fisher all leaving. Tony Fisher at least did leave for decent money. 31-32, the departures continued. Gary Chambers, Charlie Woodburn, Ben Stanton and Aaron Heath all leaving on loan. And a whole load of new players coming in. So 32-33 saw Alex Cowperthwaite, Alex Kamada, Harvey Rue, Kenneth Babaloa, Finley Herrick, who was our original goalkeeper. Kenneth Babaloa had a second loan spell, and Jurgen Muscat left from Millwall. And finally, in 2033-34, none of these are names that are familiar to me really. Mahdi Ghanayem, Sam Nagel, Rob Bateman, Alex Connell, Alex Crowan, Reece Buxton, Jason Tarbuck and Tom Carter, all leaving either for free or on loan. And that brings us up to the present day, where they've brought in another 3 players and 2 players have left, but neither of them are players who are familiar to us. So that is the story of how they took apart my Bury team, and I'll be back in a moment to deep dive into some of the other competitions, such as the Premier League, the European Championships, the FA Cup, the Champions League and the World Cup. So I'll be back with that in just a moment. Okay, here we go with the Premier League then. And the first season post me leaving, Arsenal won the title from Manchester City by 6 points. So pretty dominant performance from Arsenal. Moving on to the next season, Arsenal retained the title, this time 3 points clear of Manchester City, with Tottenham making the top 3 and Manchester United returning to the top 4. And in 31-32, Tottenham Hotspur claiming their first title for a very long time, ahead of Manchester City, Chelsea and surprise package AFC Bournemouth. And 32-33, Tottenham Hotspur champions again from Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle and Bournemouth, proving that the previous season wasn't a flash in the pan. And then 33-34 was the first real surprise of the save, and that is champions Brentford ahead of Manchester City and Tottenham, and Manchester United bringing up the or completing the top 4. As you can see, Portsmouth had made a return to the Premier League, but they will be back in the Championship again for the coming season. And let's now take a look at the FA Cup. And let's do a look at the past winners. So the last 5, Liverpool, most recent winners. Manchester City before that. Manchester United twice in a row before that. And Newcastle United. So the FA Cup being shared around quite nicely. Brentford making the final, so very nearly claiming a double in the season just gone. Now the Champions League. and let's look at the 5 past winners. So first season after we left, Manchester City beat Paris Saint-Germain in the final. Arsenal overcoming Manchester City, who made their second successive final. And then an all-English affair with Arsenal defeating Brentford in the 31-32 final. 32-33, it was again an all-English affair with Tottenham Hotspur overcoming Arsenal. And in the season just ended, Bayern Munich overcame Chelsea. So that's the Champions League. And let's do the World Cup. And have a look at who has made the finals of the World Cup. So only 2 editions of the World Cup since we left, and only 3 in the save in total. So I will cover 2026 World Cup. Portugal overcame France and Norway finished 3rd. In 2030, France again made the final, this time beating Turkey, with Brazil finishing 3rd. And in 2034, the most recent one that's just ended, Spain victorious over Argentina in the final, with Brazil winning the 3rd and 4th place playoff. And finally, we're going to have a look at the European Championships. And that is going to show that 2024 was won by Portugal, with Italy defeated in the final. 2028 was Germany beating England in the final. And 2 years ago in 2032, Portugal beat Italy. So that is the competitions rounded up. And I'll be back in a moment to take a look at the major awards. So things like the Ballon d'Or and other international symbols of recognition like that. Okay, let's start the player awards roundup by looking at the FIFA Ballon d'Or. And as you can see, it's been the Kylian Mbappe show since I departed from Bury. The only player stopping him from making a complete clean sweep was Jude Bellingham in 2031-32. Moving on then to the European Golden Shoe, and that's been shared around a little bit more. As you can see, Vinicius Jr. won it in the final season of the Save, with Joshua Zirkzee, Sebastian Marquez, Nick Chambers, who is a new gen, Kylian Mbappe, and then Kylian Mbappe again, picking up the Golden Shoe award. And let's have a look at what else we can see. European Golden Boy. So that's going to be full of new gens, and indeed is, with that award going to Sevcik, Miguel, Basualdo and John Kuffour in the 4 previous iterations, with this year not yet awarded. And let's have a look finally at the FIFA Best Men's Player and see where that's gone over the last 5 years. So Vinicius Jr. winning it in 2029, Kulusevski winning it in 2030, Bukayo Saka in 2031, Kylian Mbappe in 2032, and most recently in 2033, Erling Haaland, who is still at Manchester City. So that is the roundup of the competitions, and I'll be back to round up the episode in just a moment. Okay, well, that is the end of They Tried to Bury Us on FM24. So let me know down in the comments, what did you enjoy about the series? Anything surprise you? Any notable things happen during the course of the series that I've not commented on, that you guys have picked up on? Please do stick some comments down there. Let me know what you'd like to see on the channel going forward, as from here on our attention will turn to FM26. And if you've enjoyed this one, please leave a nice thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and goodbye.